As is generally known, the present-day Thai people were previously called Siamese before the country was renamed Thailand in the mid-20th century. Several genetic studies published in the 21st century suggest that the so-called Siamese people, Central Thai, might have had Mon origins since their genetic profiles are more closely related to the Mon people in Myanmar than the Thais in southern China. And they probably later became Thais through the language shift after the arriving of Thai people from the north around the 8th to 10th centuries. This is also reflected in the language since over half of the vocabulary in the Central Thai language is derived from or borrowed from the Mon language as well as Pali and Sanskrit. Moreover, the Jinakalamali Chronicle of Thais Lon Na also called the southern region occupied by the Mon Harapunjaya of Dvaravati as Sham Pradesh, lit. The land of Siam people, which indicates that the ancient Siamese and the Mon people in central Thailand were probably the same ethno-linguistic group. The earliest evidence to mention the Siam people are stone inscriptions found in Angkor Boryai of Funan, K.557 and K.600, dated 661 CE. The slave's name is mentioned as Ku Siam, meaning Siam female slaves. Ku is a prefix used to refer to female slaves in the pre-Angkorian era, and the Takeo inscriptions, K.79, written in 682 during the reign of Bavavarman II of Chenla, also mention Siam Nobel, Sranoya Pona Siam, which was transcribed into English as the rice field that was given to the Pona, noble rank, who was called Siam, Siam. The song Huiao Jigao, 960 to 1279, indicates Siamese people settled in the west-central Thailand, and their state was called Xiangua, Chinese, while the eastern plain belonged to the Mon of Lavo, Chinese, who later fell under the Chenla and Khmer hegemony around the 7th to 9th centuries. Those Mon political entities, which also included Harapunjaya in the north and several city-states in the northeast, are collectively called Dvaravati. However, the states of Siamese Mon and Lavo were later merged via the royal intermarriage and became Ayutthaya Kingdom in the mid-14th century, while the southwestern Isan principalities, centered in Phanom Rung and Phai Mai, later pledged allegiance to Siamese's Ayutthaya during the reign of Boromarikathorat II, R. 1424 to 1448. The remaining principal city-states in Isan region became Lanzang around 1353 after the twin cities of Muang Sua, Wang Prabang, and Vieng Chan Vieng Kam, Vientiane, became independent following the death of the Sukhothai king Ram Kamhong. According to the Wat Kadte inscription, K.1105, dated c. 7th century, during the period that the eastern Mon entity, Lavo, was strongly influenced by the Chenla. The Siamese Mon in the west also established a royal intermarriage with Chenla as Sri Chakatham, Prince of Samhoka, in the present-day Ratchaburi province, married to a princess of Isanavarmanai, and two Mandalas then became an ally. After Chenla sieged Funan and moved the center to Angkor, both Siamese Mon and the Angkorian eventually marched the troops to attack Vijaya of Kampa in 1201 during the reign of Jayavarman VII, as recorded in the Chodin inscription, c.3. Sukhothai Kingdom, 13th to 14th centuries. After the decline of the Khmer Empire and Kingdom of Pagan in the early 13th century, various states thrived in their place. The domains of Thai people existed from the northeast of present-day India to the north of present-day Laos and to the Malay Peninsula. During the 13th century, Thai people had already settled in the core land of Dvaravati and Lavo Kingdom to Nakhon Si Thammarat in the south. There are, however, no records detailing the arrival of the Thais. Around 1240, Pho Khun Bang Klang Hao, a local Thai ruler, rallied the people to rebel against the Khmer. He later crowned himself the first king of Sukhothai Kingdom in 1238. Mainstream Thai historians count Sukhothai as the first kingdom of Thai people. Sukhothai expanded furthest during the reign of Ram Kamhong, R. 1279 to 1298. However, it was mostly a network of local lords who swore fealty to Sukhothai, not directly controlled by it. He is believed to have invented Thai script, and Thai ceramics were an important export in his era. Sukhothai embraced Theravada Buddhism in the reign of Mahathamaraja I, 1347 to 1368. Ayutthaya Kingdom, 14th to 18th centuries. According to the most widely accepted version of its origin, the Ayutthaya kingdom rose from the earlier, nearby Levo kingdom and Suvarnabhumi with Athang as its first king. Ayutthaya was a patchwork of self-governing principalities and tributary provinces owing allegiance to the king of Ayutthaya under the Mandala system. Its initial expansion was through conquest and political marriage. Before the end of the 15th century, Ayutthaya invaded the Khmer Empire 3 times and sacked its capital Angkor. Ayutthaya then became a regional power in place of the Khmer. Constant interference of Sukhothai effectively made it a vassal state of Ayutthaya, and it was finally incorporated into the kingdom. Bharomatrailokanut brought about bureaucratic reforms which lasted into the 20th century and created a system of social hierarchy called Sakdina, where male commoners were conscripted as corvée laborers for 6 months a year. Ayutthaya was interested in the Malay Peninsula, but failed to conquer the Malacca Sultanate, which was supported by the Chinese Ming dynasty. European contact and trade started in the early 16th century, with the envoy of Portuguese Duke Afonso de Albuquerque in 1511. Portugal became an ally and ceded some soldiers to King Rama Thibodi II. The Portuguese were followed in the 17th century by the French, Dutch, and English. Rivalry for supremacy over Chiang Mai and the Mon people pitted Ayutthaya against the Burmese kingdom. Several wars with its ruling Taungoo dynasty starting in the 1540s in the reign of Tabinchwedi and Bayanong were ultimately ended with the capture of the capital in 1570. Then was a brief period of vassalage to Burma until Naresuan proclaimed independence in 1584. Ayutthaya then sought to improve relations with European powers for many successive reigns. The kingdom especially prospered during Cosmopolitan Narai's reign, 1656 to 1688, when some European travelers regarded Ayutthaya as an Asian great power, alongside China and India. However, growing French influence later in his reign was met with nationalist sentiment and led eventually to the Siamese Revolution of 1688. However, overall relations remained stable, with French missionaries still active in preaching Christianity. After a bloody period of dynastic struggle, Ayutthaya entered into what has been called the Siamese Golden Age, a relatively peaceful episode in the second quarter of the 18th century when art, literature, and learning flourished. There were seldom foreign wars, apart from conflict with the Nguyen lords for control of Cambodia starting around 1715. The last 50 years of the kingdom witnessed bloody succession crises, where there were purges of court officials and able generals for many consecutive reigns. In 1765, a combined 40,000-strong force of Burmese armies invaded it from the north and west. The Burmese under the new Alongpaya dynasty quickly rose to become a new local power by 1759. After a 14-month siege, the capital city's walls fell and the city was burned in April 1767.